is caused China to rely more heavily on Russian oil. Russia, as a matter of fact, might be one of the big winners of this entire conflict because the European Union may have to bend the knee and go to Russia with regard to their support for the Ukrainians because they'll need both Russian oil, not to mention natural gas, because the Qataris have shut down their natural gas operations. Natural gas formerly had been going to Europe because of projectiles sent into their territory. So Mr. Trump, who notoriously does not read, who is relying upon these sycophants like Susie Wiles and Stephen Miller and all these other knuckleheads, has led this country to the brink of disaster. And once again, we would be remiss if we only blamed him. Although he is primarily responsible, we need to also analyze how 77 million people in November 2024 voted for this guy. And I challenge Bernie Sanders in particular to move away from what he told the New York Times in November 2024, that the reason was so-called identity politics. I guess what he means is what this Columbia professor said in November 2016, that the secular descendant working class is so upset with black identity politics that they vote for the right, which makes no sense whatsoever. It's just a butchering of reality. It's a butchering of history. And we need to turn this around before it's too late.
The economy of America is on a decline. We heard about the job loss of 92,000 jobs, and we see the oil prices going up. Talk a bit about the claim by Trump and his administration that they devastated the navy of Iran so that the Strait of Hormuz can open up again. And some people say it's not open right now and it's not going to be open that easily. And even if it does, so much damage has been done that the economy will be in shambles, and the prices of not just oil, but food, everything, inflation will go up because of this attack on Iran.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned this question of inflation. Many in New York, of course, do not have automobiles and do not drive, but perhaps they'll take a taxi or Uber or Lyft. The price of gasoline at the pump is going to go through the roof as long as this conflict continues. Ditto. Food is transported often by trucks. The increase in price of gasoline at the pump will influence the cost of food, for example. This is at a time when wages are not going up to compensate for the rise in prices. Mr. Trump calls affordability a hoax, but this is going to hit his base right in the pocketbook. I should also say that his proposal, so-called, to have the United States subsidize insurance policies for ships to go through the Strait of Hormuz is fantasy, quite frankly. And the Strait of Hormuz, through which a good deal of the petroleum supply flows, will be closed or halted for some time to come. Now, we haven't even talked about the Red Sea and the approach to the Suez Canal, another important choke point in terms of transporting goods from West Asia, East Asia to Northern Europe to North Atlantic countries. The Ansar Allah in Yemen, the so-called Houthis, recall that after the conflict between Gaza and Israel was launched in October 2023, the so-called Houthis began shooting rockets into Israel, shutting down the Israeli port of Eilat. They effectively helped to close down the Suez Canal. A beneficiary of that, and possibly a beneficiary of this current conflict, will be our comrades in South Africa, because when the ships cannot go through the Suez Canal, they have to go on the long route by Cape Town, which means put more money into the coffers of Cape Town, the coffers of Pretoria. But that's small compensation for those of us on this side of the Atlantic who will be suffering, enduring real pain